Hey, this your boy Frank Gore. I'm listening to 49er Rush. Niners all day. Let's bring 6 home, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. I love it, man.
It's time for the 49ers Rush podcast. Here's your host, John Chapman.
What is going on, faithful? It is absolutely incredible to be with you guys. It's Thursday, and we are so close, Ant. We are so close. Rookies report on Tuesday, the 15th. How are we feeling, man?
I'm feeling great, and that's actually the first time I've ever been on with that intro, with the Frank Gore intro. And I hear it, and I'm like, oh, okay. I've heard it before, but this is the first time I've ever been on. So now I'm really hyped. Now you got me ready for training camp. I'm completely excited. Rookies report next week, and real football is almost here. So I love the fact that it's a training camp countdown. We're ready to go, and I'm excited about football. And I think everyone's finally over this lull and ready to get into football, and it's here.
I love it, man. It's funny. I switch the Frank Gore intro sometimes when I do like Hall of Fame talk. And if I'm going to be like talking about anything involving Frank Gore, I'll add that. But I haven't switched it back yet. I need to do that. But yeah, man, that was we were hanging out. That was for the Super Bowl in Miami, the first Rush road trip we ever did. And got to take shots with Frank Gore and have a good time and hang out. And, now it's turned into we've had about like, I think 5 times. And dude's just incredible. So like I hear it, I get excited just because it's like, yeah, this is a freaking Frank Gore, man. This dude's a legend, and he is as advertised. Like Frank Gore is Frank Gore. Like he just shows up and wants to have a good time, and he's still competitive. Like he's awesome because he's like he'll ask me, he's like, you do other events, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you have other players out? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, my crowd's bigger, right? Like, hell yeah, it is. So he is the best of the best. So training camp is right around the corner. And so I wanted to spend some time just kind of going back and forth on some questions, some things that we think might happen, might not happen. So again, just to update you on dates, next Tuesday, the 15th, so in 5 short days, depending on when you're listening to this, rookies will report. Then a full week later, on Tuesday, July 22nd, the veterans report. Now, the first day that they report is kind of check-in, weigh-ins, all that stuff, get your schedules, have a couple meetings, not really much practices, but that's kind of the start. And once they show up, then we start getting clips. We get into training camp, which I still haven't released the training camp schedule yet. I'm really excited about that. We'll be out at training camp, I'm sure. Ant, you coming out again this year as well?
Oh, yeah, I'll be out.
I love it. It's a great times just getting a peek behind the curtain and seeing all the stuff that's going out there. But, I had a question, and shout out my man, Ben, NY Niners. He asked this, there's really 2 approaches in the NFL to training camp. You have the 49ers approach, and I think about 29 other teams where it's, hey, it's just practice. You come in from home, you report, you clock in, you work out, you go through your meetings, you do all that stuff, you go home, eat dinner with the family, sleep, day's over, wake up, do it again. Kind of like just going to work every day. But there's 3 teams that have this very old school approach, the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Cowboys, where they go live kind of like you're going kind of remember the Titans, training camp, 2-a-days, staying in bunk beds and all that stuff. What are your thoughts on the advantages or disadvantages of the way 29 teams do it, including the Niners, where you just clock in for work and go home, as opposed to what the Chiefs, Steelers, and Cowboys do, where they stay for, multiple weeks, almost a month, eating with your teammates, sleeping, in bunk beds and all that kind of stuff. What are your thoughts there?
I think there's some conveniences to being at home, and the fact that the players can still be around their family for the most part. I know some that go and travel, they'll bring their families out, but it's an opportunity for these guys to kind of just get used to a rhythm of going to the facility and getting used to a rhythm of what they're going to expect through the season. So I think it's really good for rookies, especially guys who are new to the team that are going to get acclimated to the way you do things. So the culture reasons I think is big. but there's also advantages to going away too, because you are close knit together. You grow together. Everything's about football. You keep it completely centric around your football team. So I think there's advantages and disadvantages to both. We've seen the 49ers organization do both. They used to have training camp in Rockland. Then they had it in Stockton, and I went to the Stockton one a bunch of times, actually, because it's right in my backyard. So I got to see them at UOP, and that was when they were away from their families and stuff like that. So I think there's advantages to both. The 49ers organization has done both. But I think that a lot of teams prefer being at home because of the convenience. You have all your equipment. You don't have to worry about shipping it. But you just have everything there, and families are easy to visit. It's just a lot different. And I think people get comfortable with their surroundings to get ready for the season. I think that's important for some teams, and probably why the 49ers like to do it that way.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not going to be shocked when the NFLPA finally gets their act together. And if you've paid attention to any of the tampering stuff that's going on, the NFLPA is absolutely missing the boat on a lot of things, but that's okay. But eventually, I think this old school mentality is probably not going to be a part of the next CBA. Like, I could totally see them saying, like, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. Like, players don't want to do this, but it's hard to argue against anything that Andy Reid and Mike Tomlin agree on. The caveat might be, well, Jerry Jones agrees with them too, so maybe it's not that good of an idea. But yeah, like, it's a little bit weird. And I don't see Kyle Shanahan ever going that way. He's the players' coach. He hangs out with them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm never going to see him go with this old school. I don't think his dad did either. And that's probably more important than that. But yeah, 49ers are going to stay this way, right? It's not going to change.
No, I don't think so. I think that they really like what they're doing. They're even making improvements to their practice facilities, right? Adding extra field, trying to make it more convenient for this team. So that way they can actually host joint practices and things like that. So I think they're moving more towards the direction that they're steadfast on what they're doing. There's a belief in what they're doing. And I think it does make a lot of sense because they do make players stay in a hotel, but it does give the families a chance to see them. And that's a tough ask, to ask these players to go away from home again. A lot of times the guys are already coming to the Bay Area from somewhere else. They live somewhere else. So to ask them to move again, not get comfortable for the season, I think it's just, it doesn't make sense completely. I think that old mentality definitely worked, but that was when you had 2-a-days. That was when it was complete intensity all the time with practices, and everything was just a little bit different. I think it's changed, and we've seen mixed results even with the 49ers doing this during the season, going to Greenbrier and these places where they're going to be there for a little bit. Yes, it could bring the team closer together, but also there's some struggles with being away from home for so long. So it's an interesting thing, but I don't think Kyle Shanahan's going to change it up anytime soon. I think he likes the way he does things.
Yeah, well said. Well said. Shout out to Tommy. He says, the two goats of Niners content, very, very kind. I want to put this out there. Tommy Huxley, you can tell by his picture, is an absolute incredible guitar player. The shredder man is what I call him. He's playing tonight. I'm going to be making an appearance out there. I want to go support the man. He's playing at Jack London Square tonight, 6 to 9 p.m., which I'm pretty pumped about. So I'm going to be making an appearance. So if you're in the area, go support Tommy. He's a good dude. Even though he says outlandish, crazy things all the time. But nothing but love, Tommy, and can't wait to come out and support you, man. You're always on the show supporting us, and it's so appreciated. But tonight I get to return the favor. And if you're in the area, head out there, listen to some good music, chill. Hopefully the weather, I think it's going to be pretty nice. Jax, thanks for the super chat. John, what are your expectations for camp this year? I want intense. My biggest problem last year, and I was very vocal about this, you had Nick Sorensen, a.k.a. Pet Rock Personality out there. Literally, like, you couldn't even tell he was on the field. Literally wore a camouflage hoodie whenever it was 95 degrees. Like, no energy, no enthusiasm at all. And then you had Brian Schneider that was just out there talking the whole time with special teams reps. Like, you got two new coordinators. Brant Boyer, high energy, experience, whatever. Robert Saleh, high energy, experience. I want energy. I want craziness. And Robert Saleh has kind of been prepping everybody for this. Every time they ask, what do you think about this rookie? I got to wait and see when the pads come on. What do you think about this? Got to wait and see till the pads come on. Like, it's building. And so I really hope that they come out. Brock's healthy. CMC's healthy. Like, I want elite competition. I don't care if the offense wins, defense wins, quarterback throws picks. Don't care. I want people flying around, pads popping, high intensity, competition galore. Those are my number one things that I want the climate of the energy on the field to be off the charts.
And it's going to be because you have competition. You have young players trying to prove that they need to be on the field. You have veterans that want to prove that the defense is going to carry this team. Fred Warner, he brings it every single time, but now he's got backup. Deommodore Lenoir, he's one of those guys that's also out there talking and barking and wants to be the best, but they've got Robert Saleh behind them, pushing them every single rep to beat Kyle Shanahan at practice. They're going to go hard to make sure that this defense prepares the offense, and the offense isn't going to slouch either because there's guys like Jawan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall that are going to have to go out there and prove what they can do. And whenever you have competition, it ultimately breeds excitement, but it breeds intensity, and intensity levels up everything. So this is going to be one of the training camps I'm really excited about because it's not just incumbents across the board. There's legitimate battles at key positions that are going to go one way or the other. And I think in some cases, we don't know where they're going to go. But there's under the radar guys that are willing to do whatever they have to do. You don't tell me that a Tatum Bethune is not going to be scratching and crawling and doing everything he can to get up there and start. Jason Pinnock just said he wants to be an all-pro. You don't think he's not going to go out there and try to prove that not only is he a starter, but he's a starter for the future for this football team? Oh, yeah, I get excited thinking about competition, and you've got some really good competitions along this defense, but on the offense as well, because there's still things that are undecided. And some players are playing for their future. They're playing for their opportunity to stay in the league. It doesn't get any bigger than this for some of these players, and I'm super excited about it. And you're right, Saleh and Brant Boyer are going to bring the energy like we haven't seen in San Francisco for a while. This will be the most energetic crew, and I think everyone's going to feed off of it.
Ah, man, I love it. And could you imagine a world, right, where special teams for the 49ers is not a negative? And I know that that's a big ask. And to go from one of the worst special teams, I would argue the worst special teams, definitely bottom 5 for the past 3 years in a row, to just average. Like if we could just get 16th ranked special teams play, man, my stress levels would be so like back down to normal. Man, I would be so happy. And look at NY Niner says, new this year, special teams energy. One of my least favorite moments last year. I was at the game. I was at way too many games last year, but Darrell Luter Jr. almost causes a fumble because he almost runs into Jacob Cowing because he has no field awareness. 2 games later, he runs into Jacob Cowing and causes a fumble. Both times, I'm at the game and I'm watching Darrell Luter run off to the sideline, and no coach talked to him. Nobody coaches. And this is the same Darrell Luter that caused a fumble in the damn Super Bowl in the same situation. And that dude goes to, and I'm not saying like I need a coach over there screaming at him or whatever else, but like, dude, hey, Darrell, you're doing a really good job, but you've got to have better awareness and field awareness where you're at to be able to get out of the way. Nobody corrected him. Dude went over on the sideline, sat down. Nobody said a word to him. I'm just like, what is happening? And the fact that he kept doing the same mistake over and over and over again, like Brian Snyder just, I don't know how that dude, I don't understand. I'm thankful he is gone, but as a coach, and you could attest to this. Oh man, I was struggling. I was hot. I was angry. So I don't want any more of those moments.
No, you can't. You know, those are the things that you have to coach him up. And that's one thing we know Brant Boyer is going to do because he made it all through a bunch of different regimes with the Jets, and every single coach decided to hire him on as special teams coach because he stays on his P's and Q's. And that's one of the things that Kyle Shanahan usually likes is attention to detail. But for whatever reason, Brian Snyder and Nick Sorensen did not have that attention to detail that you got from Robert Saleh and D'Amico Ryans and those guys that really paid attention to every aspect of every single thing that was going on. And that's what you have to do. It doesn't take a lot to go up to Darrell Luter Jr. He obviously did things wrong and tell him this is what you did wrong. That's what you're supposed to do as a coach. You're supposed to enlighten, educate, so that way they can make a change. It doesn't mean it's going to get fixed right away, but it's going to get fixed. That's one of the keys. You always have to get it fixed. And I always think it's crazy when you don't see someone get coached up after a mistake. We can't be walking on eggshells and worry about the guy's feelings in the moment. You got to have a little Debo Samuel in you sometimes and just say, hey, you can't be making that mistake again. Lock it in, man. You got to do it. there's a time and place for everything. And sometimes, like you said, you just pull them aside. Hey, Darrell, you're doing a good job, but this is what you have to do. And then there's times where, hey, you get in their face when they're continuing to make mistakes. But yeah, I don't understand that philosophy, and especially with guys in the NFL. They're getting paid millions of dollars to go win games. They can't be making mistakes like that. So you expect mistakes, but you want them to get coached up on it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Shout out to my good friend Yatsik. He says, the amount of knowledge, I appreciate the kind words, you guys drop is immense every time. Your respective abilities to break down this for civilians, I like that. And your memory banks are impressive. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Yatsik, and the kind words. That is awesome. Now, here's a couple questions I wanted to get to you with the rookies reporting. Number one, and I think this is probably the most important issue right now, Alfred Collins, the 49ers second-round pick, has not signed his contract yet. Now, to complicate things further, 30 out of 32 second-round picks have not signed their deal. It's a very weird year. So my question to you is, do you think Alfred Collins will get his deal done before they report on Tuesday?
I think it's unlikely. I think because it doesn't hinge just on Alfred Collins, right? This isn't a situation where he's waiting for more money or he's waiting for, a bigger this or a longer that. No, this isn't a language situation. This is him waiting on players in front of him, because nobody wants to be the first player that flips. Because if Alfred Collins is the first one to sign, picks 44 through the rest of the second round, now they're not getting guaranteed contracts. And if you look at the guys above, like, they're not willing to do it either. And I don't want to ever get on someone for trying to get guaranteed money. Go get your money. Like, this is an opportunity for second round picks to get guaranteed money. And it means a lot to these guys. It changes their lives. So I'm definitely not going to be somebody that's against Alfred Collins waiting, but he's got a lot of people waiting in front of him. And he needs one of those guys in front. We need one of those guys from, pick 34 to pick 42 to decide they're not going to take guaranteed money. Then everything will work out and the 49ers can get the deal. But I don't think the 49ers are going to be the first one to give guaranteed money. And I don't think Alfred Collins is going to be the first one to sign without somebody else getting it done. So I think we're in a holding pattern. And I think it's probably more likely when actual training camp begins that somebody makes the move and actually takes non-guaranteed money.
Over the Cap put out this chart, and this is the history, the past 5 years of the number 43 overall pick, which is where Alfred Collins got picked. The amount of guaranteed money. So 5 years ago, the Raiders gave out 61% guaranteed money. 4 years ago, the Giants gave out 71%. Packers gave out 75% 2 years ago, and last year the Cardinals 78%. So, man, in that 80s range, whatever, and you don't think it's going to get done. I asked on Twitter right before the show. I put this poll out less than an hour ago. It's got 216 votes. The Twitter 49ers public says 66% says the deal will get done before rookies report. 33 say no. So we're at that 2/3. I don't think the deal's going to get done either. And it sucks. I really wish that it would. But there's always something weird going on. And this is an okay weird thing. Like defensive tackle. Yeah, you want them to get the work and you want them to get ready and all that stuff. But not one of the most difficult, strenuous transitions from college to the NFL. Like, I'm not too concerned. You know what I mean? If it was a wide receiver or a corner or a quarterback, or something like that, then maybe, but it's not. And so not too overly concerned about that. And right here, Chris, Shannon doesn't play rookies anyway. He's playing rookies this year. This is not your old 49. You did not bring back veteran depth. In fact, you made cash cuts to guys that you still could use, and Leonard Floyd and Malik Collins. God, I wish we still had both those guys, but rookies got to play this year. Am I wrong there?
No, rookies are playing. At least one is starting at defensive tackle, Alfred Collins or CJ West. One of them is going to start. More than likely, Mykel Williams is going to start. There's a chance we get a linebacker starter, a nickel starter. The rookies are going to make an impact this season, one way or the other. That's why my video yesterday was rookies make or break, because that's what it's going to be. They're going to make this season. They're going to break this season, because you don't have the veterans this year in place that the rookies can marinate and develop. They've got to be ready to roll.
Man, there we go. Rusty, with York focused on a cash available future, there is zero chance they blink first. Well said, well said. Bid, rumor is the holdup is Tyler Shugg. The contract there. I want the draft. So here's what happened with the second round picks. You had the pick 33, Carson Swessinger, fully guaranteed. Pick 34, Jaden Higgins, fully guaranteed. Nick Eamon-Wari, who's Seattle at 35. And then you've got about 8 players until we get to Alfred Collins. So, like, he's waiting in line. And all the agents are just like, don't flinch, don't flinch, don't flinch. Get that guaranteed money. So it's just a weird one. But yeah, Boats, I'm with you. I don't like it when a rookie starts worrying about money before he earned anything. Collins is not owed anything. Take the deal and prove yourself first. We don't know the deal that's on the table. And the fact that there are 9 players ahead of him, like, I do not put this on a Collins thing. The fact that 30 out of 32 second round picks haven't signed yet. I personally, I don't always side with the players, but usually I do. This one, I get it. I do wish there would get a deal done, though. I think this is a both and. Like, look, dude, let's meet in the middle. Like, and again, go to this right here, right? So, like, last year, this pick got 78%. We'll give you 85%. Like, you know, and again, it's easy for me to say. It's not my money, but I do buy a lot of beers at Levi's, so it kind of is. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to play the blame game too much.
I think it's likely it's going to happen, but I mean, you're right. The agents, they're definitely not wanting this to happen. And the NFLPA, I'm sure, is telling them, hey, wait, make them earn the money. Nick Eamon-Wari, I don't think he's going to be the guy that takes less than guaranteed money. He's going to be the holdup. It's going to have to be 37, 38, 39 picks that end up deciding to take non-guaranteed. And maybe they'll get close, in the 90s percentile, and this thing will start filtering down. But we're going to get to a deadline where all the teams are going to make this happen. That's coming up in the next week or so. But yeah, I don't put this on Alfred Collins. I don't think it's his fault. I think he's just staying the course, and he's going to take what ends up falling to him. But hey, when you start giving guaranteed money to second round players, and 100% guaranteed money, this is what's going to happen.
And, again, looking at Nick Eamon-Wari and Quinshon Judkins, they're the next 2 players. Those are 2 of the lowest paid positions in the NFL. That's safety and running back. The 2 most devalued. Like, you got to get your money while you can. And I hate it. I do hate it, but it's what it is. Shout out to Mykel. He says, I listened to Ant's podcast yesterday this morning on my way to work. Great show for anyone that missed it. Guys, if you have not gone and checked out 49ers Cutback yet, what are you doing? He's the best of the business. He records every damn day. No, he's not doing all the crazy hot takes and whatever and just saying stuff. Ant is a man of conviction, right? It's like the John Wick saying he's a man of conviction, sheer will, purpose. Like, go check it out. Please do. Please do. And if you're coming to any 49ers games this year, you got to come party with us.
49ers Rush Road Trip is going into its 6th year with over 40 events at road games. If you are traveling to see the 49ers play this year, you got to come party with us. And on top of that, we give games, trivia, giveaways. We've partnered with TickPick this year. All you have to do is search 49ers Rush on any of the TickPick sites, apps, you name it. And on top of all of that, best dressed, giveaways, autographed jerseys, kids are always included, and get in for free with a ticketed adult. And a lot of times for select cities, we will have 49ers legends come out and you get to meet and greet them and get an autograph. Navarro Bowman, Frank Gore, Patrick Willis, Fred Warner are all players that we have worked with in the past. And trust me, if you want to build the 49ers community, you're traveling by yourself, we got you covered. 49ersRushRoadTrip.com.
All right, let's get back to some more rookie talk. Marquise Siegel, he was another guy that was banged up, sports hernia issue, whatever, core muscle, however you want to classify that. Will he be cleared? Do you think that he'll be ready to go? One of the many that Kyle Shanahan said would be ready to go by camp. He said everybody was, by the way. What do you think about Marquise Siegel? One of my favorite draft picks that we had in the 5th round. Will he be cleared, good to go, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think he's going to. I think that this one, you kind of seen the avenue for him to be able to get back. And I think they were careful with him during OTAs and minicamp. And I think that's smart. Make sure he's ready to go when you got to get on the field and go prove it. He's one of the most interesting players because he's got all the speed, all the athleticism, some of the versatility to play in the slot, also can, potentially cover the deep third, but he's different than the other safeties. The 49ers don't really have a speed demon like this who's got the versatility that he has. And I think he's very similar to a guy like Jimmy Ward, who's got some corner-ish skills, but can still come up and pop you at the line of scrimmage. So I like him a lot. They've talked about how much they think his intelligence and football intelligence is really superb. And so I'm curious when he gets on the field, how quickly he picks things up and how fast he's able to adjust to things on the fly and where he's going to fit in the pecking order, because they added a lot of veterans along the way as well. Malik's going to be out early. That's going to give him an extra opportunity. So he's one I'm really excited to watch and see what he looks like on the field. See if that 4-3 translates. It looks like it's going to on film, but let's see what it looks like when we get in person.
Now, my question with Marquise Siegel, though, where do you think they're going to play him? Because, like, this is somebody who probably nickel was his best spot in college, has played the safety spot, has played outside corner. Do you think he's going to be one of the many safeties, or, man, is he going to be one of the many nickels? Like, where do you think they line him up at first?
I think they're going to play him at safety. I think that's their goal. But I think they're also going to look at him as a dime cornerback. Like, they could walk him up and he could cover someone in the slot. I also think with the way that the league's trending, and we've heard Robert Saleh talk about trends of the league, you've got to have guys that can go cover up a running back or a tight end in the slot or out wide and not have a mismatch. Getting a safety that's still big enough, but also has those abilities to change direction the way that he does, you can kind of match some of those guys. All of a sudden, Bijan Robinson goes outside. You're not worried about him cooking Jair Brown because you've got Marquise Siegel able to lock him up. Or you get another tight end, especially in this division with all the tight ends that you're going, Trey McBride. Now you've got a safety that can line up on Trey McBride and do a sufficient job. It's still going to be tough. He's big and physical, but I think that's what they're looking for. They're looking at trends of the league, the way that teams are going tight end, running back, and moving those guys outside. You have to have that eraser kind of safety. And I think that's what they see Marquise Siegel being, kind of that versatile player, safety / cornerback that can help them in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, I'm excited about him. He was one of the guys I locked on pretty early as just a guy that just met all the Niners. 6 foot, 200 pounds, 4.4 speed, versatility, crazy experience, loves physicality, great versus the run game, smart off the field. Just like, man, at K-State, I'm not a K-State fan, but if you don't love football, you don't go to K-State, because you're going to live in the middle of nowhere with cows next to your practice field, and there's nothing to do but football out there, and football and farm. That's it. And so, like, you have to love football. Man, I've been a part of way too many K-State Texas games. I have my Texas shirt on today. For some reason, they used to always kick our butt, man. Special teams always got us. So last rookie I want to talk about here, not last rookie today, but Junior Bergen, 7th round pick, weird. And when they drafted him, they even said, like, we drafted him as a returner. Like, that's how he will make this roster. What do you do with them on offense? Because you're not practicing returning the whole damn day of practice. I know he's going to work with the wide receivers, but do you think that Junior Bergen will absolutely get like an honest shake at wide receiver? Or is he just a guy at the back of the rotation just getting snaps?
I think they're going to gadget him. I do. I think it's going to be quick screens, use his vision out in space, get a couple jet sweeps, maybe a reverse here and there, and try to use him in a gadget role. Because of his use in college, where he played running back, he also played wide receiver, we know that he's got the vision in space. So you're going to see him at slot sometimes. I think they're going to get him the ball over the middle of the field, see if he can do anything when it comes to yak yardage. I think they'll give him a fair shake early on, but I think a lot of the offense is going to be revolving around him doing some of those gadget things, some of those things that you like having in the offense that can stretch a team horizontally, and see if they can take advantage of his ability with the great vision. That's what you see with the punt returns and the kick returns, is the vision. So can we get the guy the ball in space? I think that's what his role is going to be. The tough part is you got guys like Jacob Cowling, who's pretty much identical when it comes to offense in front of him. And so, he's further along. So I think that's going to make it difficult for Bergen. But I think there's a role as long as he can go out there and excel when it comes to route running and creating separation. He's got to be able to do some of it. So it's going to be fun to see what they do with him. But I think we're going to see a lot of gadget things early as Shanahan tries to use his skills that are really his best skills to try to make him successful. See if they can squeak him on this team, because it's going to be tough in this wide receiver room just to keep a guy like him unless he's really good on special teams. But he's also got to be okay on offense. Kyle's not going to keep you if you're bad on offense. I don't care how good of a special teams player you are. He's going to want to get ready because he needs those guys to play positions as well.
Yeah. Junior Bergen's fun, man. He's tough as hell. He's small, and so a lot of people always talk about how small he is. But this dude had 18 bench press reps, the fourth most of all wide receivers if he would have been invited. Like, he is built correctly. He's got some muscle definition to him, but you can tell he plays with some strength. My issue with the wide receiver tape that I've been able to watch at Montana, and shout out to Boats, he says, Brant Boyer, our new special teams coach, son, played with them at Montana. Yeah, Brant Boyer's son was the redshirt kicker, punter for Montana. So he was in that special teams room with them all year. And Junior Bergen was the team MVP, and Montana went deep. And my favorite thing, though, is you go through those FCS playoffs. Dude had 3 return touchdowns in the playoffs. All of them happened in the second half, most of them in the fourth quarter. Like, so big-time players show up in big-time games and big-time moments. Like, I love that. My question, Ant, do you think all these rookies are going to make this roster? You drafted 11. We talked about how they lacked veteran depth. But my question to you is, if one rookie didn't make this roster, which usually kind of that's the way the Niners go, who would that be? I'll run through the 11 names real quick. If you had to say one rookie does not make this roster, we're not predicting they won't, but if we had to put that caveat on it, Mykel Williams, Alfred Collins, Nick Martin, Upton Stout, CJ West, Jordan Watkins, Jordan James, Marquez Siegel, Curtis Rourke, Connor Colby, Junior Bergen. Who is the guy that you're like, man, he's going to have the most difficult time hanging on and getting a roster spot?
I think it's going to be Connor Colby. Yeah. I do. I think the last 2 7th rounders have the toughest time, but I think Bergen has a shot because of the special teams. With Connor Colby, there are so many interior offensive linemen ahead of him. Nick Zakel, Matt Hennessy, just a couple of guys there. You still have the versatility of Burford, where he's going to be tackle / guard. There's so many guys that I just don't know if they find a spot on the roster, for Connor Colby. And I like him. I do. I think that he's a guy that could develop into a very consistent player, but they drafted him in a position where they are locked and loaded. And I get it. It could be looking at him for the future because Zakel is in the last year of his deal. Ben Barch last year of his deal. Burford last year. So I get it. But I just think it's going to be an uphill climb, and I don't even know where he's going to find all the reps for him to be able to prove that he can be one of those guys barring injury. I just think it's going to be tough for Connor Colby and for Bergen, but I think Bergen has an avenue because he's the number one guy they want to see at kick return. They want him to succeed, where with Connor Colby, I think they want him to succeed, but they've got guys who are just more experienced ahead of him.
And so, Boats puts this out there, Cowing not as talented as a punt returner. Would you rather have Cowing out there week 1, or would you rather have Junior Bergen out there? 3 straight years with a rookie punt returner? Like, that's insane to me.
I would rather have Jacob Cowing as a punt returner initially because I've seen him do it, and I value consistency when it comes to receiving the football. But yeah, Boats is completely right. Bergen is the more talented when it comes to vision return guy compared to Jacob Cowing. I think that's going to be one of the most interesting things is seeing how quickly he picks it up. Because last year, Jacob Cowing did really well picking it up, and we've seen other guys not do so well picking it up. Bergen's had some problems catching the football early on so far during OTAs, and we'll see what happens with that. If he can be secure on it, hey, maybe he's got a shot. But I think his number one avenue is going to be kick return, where the 49ers really need to change field position in a big way, where Kyle is more used to go with punt return, like, hey, I just want somebody that's going to catch the ball and secure it so we can get on offense, where kick return, let's change field position. I think that is part of the reason I think Jacob Cowing early, but Bergen's got a shot at some point if they feel like he's secure catching the ball.
Yeah, I like that. Well said. Ben, NY Niner says, do you guys think losing Jared Kingston last year might make them more likely to keep Connor Colby this year? That's kind of the problem. Like, Connor Colby's comp is Jared Kingston. And imagine if you would have kept him last year instead of Ambry Thomas or Ronnie Bell, or you can go on and on and on. A lot of very poor roster decisions. And like, you really could have used Jared Kingston. So like, are you just repeating last year's mistake where you take this late round flyer at guard, never draft a tackle, never draft a center ever, please, for some damn reason. But like, there's no room. Like, are you going to cut Nick Zakel, who was one of the best pass blocking guards in the entire NFL last year in 160 snaps he played? Do you cut Spencer Burford, who's starting left tackle through minicamp? Like, you can't keep more than 8 offensive linemen. You got to keep Matt Hennessy because I'm hoping he gets some playing time this year. Like, there's just so many bodies. I don't know how they keep Connor Colby unless you keep 9 offensive linemen. Does the Jared Kingston release last year affect their decision-making process this year?
I think it makes them think about it. I mean, you didn't want to lose Jared Kingston, but they honestly believed they could waive Jared Kingston and get him back to the practice squad. They did. They thought that was going to happen. Maybe it opens their eyes to it. The problem is with Connor Colby is all the guys you talked about all have versatility. Matt Hennessy plays center and guard. Nick Zakelj plays center and guard. Spencer Burford plays tackle and guard. Versatility is the name of the game. When you got guys who are pigeonholed into one position, it makes it a little bit more difficult. Just like another guy that's been a hot conversation point all throughout the offseason has been Austin Pleasance, but he's another guy that's pigeonholed into playing tackle. He doesn't play guard. There's no versatility there. So when you're going into keeping a guy at the offensive line, you want a guy that can play a couple different roles, because then when you get to game day, you have a guy that's versatile, not just pigeonholed into playing one spot. And so when building an offensive line, that's more important sometimes. So that's a thing that's going to hurt Connor Colby as well, is he's coming in to play pure guard. And so he's got to be really, really good at it. And I think that that's one of the things that's going to make it difficult for him. But I'm sure that they're going to try to find a way to keep him on this roster somehow. Maybe he's the Kyle Shanahan injury prospect this year. All of a sudden he has an injury and he ends up on the PUP list or the IR or whatever they can do to keep him, because I do think that they want to keep him. I think Chris Foerster's high on him. But like you said, there's so much depth, so many players that have really played pretty well. Nick Zakelj, so good pass blocking last year. Do you really want to lose that? I don't think so.
And so if these are going to be PUP players, when they report, they have to start on PUP. So to qualify for that roster exemption when they cut down to 53, you have to be on PUP when camp starts. And so, again, this Tuesday, the 15th, that's going to be huge, because you can't start on the active list, then get put on PUP and stay on PUP for the roster exemption. You can't do that. You would go on IR. So if you don't start on PUP, PUP is done for you. You can only do IR after that. And that's a lot tighter roster limit there. And so that's why I think guys like Curtis Rourke and Curtis Robinson and Brandon Ayuk, like, those are going to be your PUP guys. There might be a few more that come up, but pay attention to that, because when you see that, that tells you, oh, Shanahan getting sneaky. That's what's going on there. Boat says, man, 6th-round O-line will get cut and pick back up. Jared Kingston, 6th-round O-line, got cut. He was with Carolina the whole year, and they still have him. So, like, yeah, there's a possibility, and I do not have Connor Colby making this roster right now. So I'm kind of with you, just because the bodies that are ahead of him. Now, interesting question coming up next for Ant. I'm going to give him 3 choices. He's going to have to tell me who is the most important for the 2025 season. Here are the names, and I want you guys to start to think about this as well. Ricky Pearsall, Mykel Williams, or Renardo Green. Who is the most important for the 2025 season alone when we get back?
Hey, Niner faithful, if you're looking for tickets to see the 49ers play this season, TickPick is the destination for the best deals you'll find on tickets with absolutely no hidden fees. TickPick guarantees the best price on tickets to every NFL game and beyond. Download the TickPick app and use code NINERS, NINERS, at checkout to save $10 on your first order. Again, that's code NINERS. Get your tickets ready today to cheer on the team with the rest of the 49ers Rush community, and all of our events for the 49ers Rush road trip are sold exclusively on the TickPick app or tickpick.com. Just search 49ers Rush.
All right, Ant. Most important for the 2025 season out of these 3 young pups: Ricky Pearsall, Mykel Williams, Renardo Green. Who you got?
This is like one of the toughest questions I think that we've ever done, because all 3 of them have to make an impact on this team. And when you start going through the roster and you look at a guy like Renardo Green, the 49ers don't really have the backup behind that could step in and start day one on outside corner. So I worry about that. Ricky Pearsall's got to make up a lot of the stats of what you're going to be missing from Brandon Ayuk, from him being out, and potentially Demarcus Robinson not being able to start the season either. So there's that. Then Mykel Williams has got to set the edge and be that guy opposite of Nick Bosa. This was a tough one for me. I think that because I think this offense is going to run through George Kittle early on in the season, him and McCaffrey. I do think Ricky Pearsall doesn't have to have as big of a start as probably we're hoping. So I think it's going to come down to the other two guys on defense. And I think it comes down to Renardo Green, and it comes down to our guy, Mykel Williams. And I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to be Renardo Green just because of the position depth. I think it's going to be most important for him to be able to play really well. You're going to have Deommodore Lenoir potentially playing on the outside 100% of the time. He has not done that in a season. He usually goes inside and plays about 70% of the snaps in there. So you've got to count on him doing that. But without Renardo Green and without him playing well, this defense is lacking at cornerback. I don't know if Trey Brown or Dallas Flowers or, Darrell Luter Jr. could step in and play that level. I think they're really counting on Renardo Green. So I'm going to go with Green, but I will say I think the 49ers need all three of these guys to step up and make plays. Mykel Williams kind of sets the whole defensive line. If he does what he's supposed to do on first and second down, it earns them the right for Bryce Huff to come in and pass rush. And I don't really want Yetur Gross-Matos getting those early downs, except for the Bravo group as a rotational piece. So these three guys are very tough to pick between. I went Renardo Green just because of the depth behind him. I think it probably makes the most sense for him to have to play well early.
Man, it is hard, and probably one of the biggest issues with this entire season is just how many young players you are relying on, and so man, what are you gonna do? Because they all have to hit. And I will say this, I won't tell you who, but on our roster countdown, little spoiler alert, these are 10, 12, and 13 on our list. So anyway, they're all right there. That's why I kind of came up with this question. And shout out to NY Niners. He says, this is difficult coming through this, but he would have said Ricky Pearsall. If you talk about just, you look at Coach Yak put this out on an ESPN article. ESPN projected Ricky Pearsall's stat line this year to be 67 receptions, 964 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns. And I'm like, hell yeah. Sign me up. Like I am totally cool with that. Like, if you told me that's what Ricky Pearsall was going to do, close to 1,000-yard receiver, because again, and I put this out on Twitter, Debo's numbers last year in that exact same role were 51 catches, 670 yards, 3 touchdowns. So you're getting an uptick there for a second-year player, and that would guarantee if he gets, close to 1,000 yards, he stays healthy. That's my only concern with Ricky Pearsall, which is crazy because he played in 51 out of 51 college games. But, man, he's had hamstrings on hamstrings on hamstrings on hamstrings. If he stays healthy, that is going to be gigantic. But, yeah, Mykel Williams, I feel more confident about the backups. Sam O isn't electric by any stretch, but he is consistent. And Yetur Gross-Matos, like you said, that's good. Renardo Green has no backup. There's no backup for Renardo Green, and there's no backup for Ricky Pearsall. Those guys don't have backups. And again, back to Demarcus Robinson, but he just got his court filings finished and whatever else, that suspensions is coming. But man, there is no outside corner depth at all on this roster at all. It doesn't exist. You didn't sign one. And I'm just terrified. Was it Brian Allen, the Miami game against Fitzgerald in Miami? That haunts me. And it's just did we learn nothing? We learned nothing? I'm really worried about that, man. And so, yeah, I think I would go Renardo Green as well. Not necessarily that he's the best of the three, but you ain't got a backup plan. If Renardo or Deommodore Lenoir goes down, oh boy, sound the alarms, because it is going to be, you just don't have the depth. You don't have it. I guess you go sign somebody off the streets, but me no gusta. No, I don't like it. So those are the three. Now, one thing that I did want to ask you, what would you put the over-under sack total for Mykel Williams in his rookie year? Would it be 3.5? Or you go higher, a 5.5? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was when you first said it, I was thinking 5. I think that's kind of a number for him to work on. I think that there's a good chance he could come close to that. I think there's going to be opportunities for him, especially rushing on the inside, but I do think he's going to be better rushing from the wide 9 than probably people believe. I think we've seen some of the traits that will make it difficult for some of the offensive tackles in this league, the mixture of power and speed. I think he's got it. So his attention to detail, I think, is going to help him. And plus, he's playing with Nick Bosa. He's playing with Bryce Huff. He's going to have guys out there that can really get after the quarterback. And I love what Bryce Huff has been saying about working together. And when they were collaborative as a defensive unit, that's when he had his best season. That's the kind of conversation that's going to be important. It's not so much about my stats, but it's just us getting to the quarterback. And I think Bosa has that same belief too. I think that's going to really benefit Mykel Williams.
Oh, I like that. Bid says 6.5. I'm taking the over. He thinks he'll have 8. Remember, Nick Bosa was like rookie of the year and one of the best defensive rookie players we've had since maybe Myles Garrett. He had 9.5. So last year sack totals. Nick Bosa only had 9 last year. Leonard Floyd 8.5. Malik Collins 5. Yetur Gross-Matos 4. Last year was not a good sack year for the 49ers, to say the least. And again, that's not why Mykel Williams was brought in here. He was brought in here to stop the run, tackle for losses. That's probably way more important, especially if he kicks inside. But yeah, I would be happy. If you told me he got 5.5 sacks, I'd be like, all right, that is a positive. It's not a home run. It's not a triple. But hey, Tony Gwynn's in the Hall of Fame. I want consistency. And the biggest issue with this roster, and I think I've said this too many times, all these young guys have to hit. You can't have a 50% draft rate this year. You can't do that. You've got to be at 70% with how many rookies are going to be playing. I mean, you're talking 4 defensive rookie starters at some point this year. It's going to have to happen. You just don't have the bodies. Offensively, not so much, but yeah, man, you got to have Mykel Williams be a single at least. You got to have Alfred Collins be a single or a double. I think Nick Martin has to be a double or better. And it's kind of weird because there's more pressure on the linebacker that was a 3rd-round pick because of Robert Saleh and whatever else. But that dude, he has to be the can't-miss guy of this entire draft class, I think.
I think Upton Stout has got to feel some pressure as well. I think they're hinging a lot. I mean, Robert Saleh came in and evaluated this defense, and you can tell the decisions that he made was, hey, let's let Malik Collins go. Let's let Leonard Floyd go. We're going to keep Gross-Matos. We're going to keep Jordan Elliott. But also he honed in on let's keep Deommodore Lenoir outside because everything they've done has been let's get guys who can play nickel. Trey Brown now, John Lynch said he's a versatile guy. He can play nickel. Our Lads has listed him now as a starting nickel right now. Upton Stout has been getting all those reps at nickel. You've got Chase Lucas. You've got Saran Neal. You have just made sure that you have got the nickel guys. Somebody's got to hit so Lenoir can play on the outside. So I think he evaluated it, and they think Upton Stout's that guy. And if he hits, he does unlock this defense immensely because Upton Stout's game and his skills of being a good run stopper, but also that guy that can be sticky in coverage. If he turns out to be a K'Wan Williams version, a better one, the 49ers get their defense back, and all of a sudden they get more time to rush the passer because the coverage is a little bit better. I think that's a huge element to this 49ers defense. Upton Stout needs to hit.
Man, I'm excited. Man, we're 5 days away, Ant. How cool is this? 49ers rookies going to report. We're going to get medical updates, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be fun. We've got some contract disputes, a lot of stuff to watch and pay attention to for the next 5 days. Ant, what's the next show that we could catch? I know you're going live every damn day now, man, and I really appreciate what you're doing for the community during this dark time of the off season. What's the next show we can catch over on your channel, man?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing X Factor. I'm going to be talking about the X Factor for the 49ers offense. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow, so everyone can go check that out. So it's going to be a fun Friday talking about the X Factor for the 49ers offense. And just, this offense is going to change a little bit. We don't have Brandon Ayuk, so it's going to have to go a different way. And there's a linchpin player that's going to make a big difference for this 49ers offense.
Ooh, I love it. Can't wait for it. Ant, thank you so much for your time and your expertise. And for everybody else out there, we're so close, guys. We are so close. And until next time, stay strong, faithful.